G'day, g'day. Schnepp back at you here working on this CanAm 650. Got a bunch of stuff still left to go, all kinds of piddly stuff. Today I'm hoping to get the step-ups back onto her. The new ones finally showed up. Okay, they come in two pieces, just light aluminum. It's no wonder they're all bent to hell. Anyways, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put those together so that I have one piece, and then I'll bring it over and set it on here just to see how much bending and banging I got to do. On the other side, it's gonna be even worse. I got one of the step-ups is held on by about 1/4 of an inch of weld, and the frame has got a crack in it from where it took the hit. So that's gotta get cut off, cleaned up, and welded back on, but in the right spot. That's the tricky part. All right. Got some bolts cleaned up on the wire wheel out there. Now we can get to putting something back together. Look at that, we built a thing. Everything's gonna be lined up. I'll put one in here, just because. Super loose for now. Well, there's our assembled step. Yeah, gonna be a scorcher today. 9 in the morning, and it's already about 28 degrees. So I think I'm gonna be done by about noon hour. Shiny and new. Okay, I got my step up assembled here. Got my little steel piece on, which is where your foot grip part goes after you put the plastics on. And we're just going to see how really mangled we are here. Alright, so you can see there, that's out by about an inch. That one's nowhere even close, and that one's about an inch out back too. So the middle one is the worst one. And the front one's going to be a pain because you can see here where it bent the bracket on the brake pedal as well, since it bolts to this with this little angle guy. Well, we got them beat roughly into place here. This center one's kind of kicking my butt a bit. It's right up close to the engine, so I can't hit it much more than it is. Managed to get the brake loosened up so the pedal actually works again. That's going to be super helpful. Look at that. All the bolts and nuts in place. Now I just got to tighten her up. Which, if I remember correctly, was no easy feat. Look! We have a step. Okay, time to put our black plastic thingamajiggers back on here. You can see we got our gripinator back on here. Just put the bolts through the hole to keep things lined up. And no, we're not going to put no darn Torx back into here, ever. We're just going to use 1/4 inch by 3/4 inch long nuts and bolts, regular old nuts and bolts out of the drawer, and we're going to put a flat washer on the back. Simple as that. Oh no, got my nuts. Yeah, something to be said about a bolt that you can actually get in properly if you ever need to. That's the way it's supposed to go. Okay, now we just gotta tighten up our little gripinator here. I can't even find it. And here somewhere. Look at that! Heck of a lot better than when she rolled in here. So I got the front one pretty much straight in here. The middle one is really well done. It's amazing how easy that one went. But then again, when you look at it and realize that the frame underneath is all cracked. So there's going to be some welding going on here. And this one here was held on with, that little spot of weld. I don't know if you can see the clean spot. That was the only thing holding that one on. And you look at the state of it. So I'm going to see if I can straighten that sucker out in the vise and beat on it a little bit. And then we'll weld her back on. Now the whole thing is twisted, so we'll have to heat it across the back a bit. See if we can get it with the heat we got. Ooh, she's coming, she's coming. A little straighter. I got some beating to do, but now I can put it in the vise and straighten it that way. So we got her a little better. It looks like a step again. Not perfect, but pretty darn close. I got my quench bucket going here. It was laying outside. I don't know what, I think they're dogs. That looks like a squirrel. No, that's a dog. I don't know what the heck it is, but it was outside my garage, so I used it. Okay, so we straightened up that step. We got a bit of grinding to do, and then we'll look at cleaning up the frame and welding that thing back on. All right, let's look at putting this mocket back in here. So it's easier to bolt the piece, temporarily at least, onto here. All things said and done, I'm pretty happy with the way the step-up's straightened out for the most part. Okay, so that step is surprisingly tight, considering that only really this front bracket is holding anything, and a little bit of the top weld here. There's no bottom weld, and it's cracked along the frame at the bottom. This one's just sitting there. So now at least I can see what I got to do to weld. Okay, so you can see what we're dealing with here. This is the back bracket that I had to straighten the hell out of. It's completely ripped off, so I'm gonna get at what I can while I'm under here. Zip that up, and I'll pull the aluminum and then get everywhere else that I can't get with this in the way. Here you can see the crack in the frame. It goes about halfway up, and it comes down, splits the frame wide open, and then comes up front. So I'm gonna start up here. Once it gets hot, I'm gonna try to knock this back, close up that gap, zip the bottom, and then I don't really know how far it goes up here yet because this is in the way, but I'll pull all the aluminum off and touch up what I can without it in the way. Yo! Trying not to get things too darn hot down here. That's a little better. Bottom of the center one's all welded up. That split along the frame, and the crack, which went up to about here, is all welded up. So that one's good and solid. We're tacked in the bottom here. I want to get some welds up in here. Okay, steps welded on. Good and friggin' solid now. That ain't going anywhere. Gonna put our belt cover back on now that that's all out of the way. Cover on. The lightest setting on this. This has 3 settings. And I'm just barely pulling the trigger. Oh, we're on the home stretch now, boys and girls. Home stretch. Why I light things up on my table. I don't have to bend over so much. Not much more disappointing than getting down there and then realizing you got the wrong darn socket. It's actually quite surprising all these holes right here and the fenders aren't all busted out. Usually they're the first thing to go. We got steps. That's a soft suspension, this girl.